Yeah, and I feel like a lot of athletes already have it in them. The ability to separate your mind from your body, the ability to work with a team, the ability to do things that you don't necessarily want to do for the betterment of others and yourself.
I'm Alex DelSordo with the Rowers Choice Network, and I have a unique guy that made national news, and every rower knew who he was when he was on Barstool Sports website. His name is Slam Dunkley. You heard me right, and he is a rower, a medal-winning rower, but this guy means so much more to rowing than just a really cool name. I have Slam Dunkley here. Slam, welcome to an athlete interview. Thank you for being here today.
For sure. What's good?
Now, this is exciting. Now, Slam, before we started this, you heard I've been rowing for 21 years. I've been in the industry for 10. And the unfortunate thing is that we here at Rowers Choice and the folks at Resolute and Finish Line and Sykes, we've never heard of you until you made Barstool Sports website, because the guys at Barstool Sports sort of made fun of the fact that you are the most unique name ever, Slam Dunkley, but you're a rower. They made fun of you. So before we get into this, like I kind of have I gotta get this off the table. How old were you when you realized you were going to disappoint your parents and not play basketball, but become a rower? Like, when did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, I already disappointed my parents before that, but it was my dad. He wanted me to get into rowing so I could start being around like the sons of lawyers and doctors. Because I was hanging around the wrong crowds in middle school, and I fought it and I quit after my second season in 8th grade. And then I got expelled from my high school junior year for some trouble, and I lost my cross-country scholarships, and rowing is the reason I got into college. So my parents kind of guided me to row, and rowing kind of saved my life, really. So I don't think they're disappointed in so much that it's led me to being in grad school and applying to law schools right now.
I gotta take a break here. You just gave me chills, Slam. This was not at all the story that I was expecting. In fact, what blows my mind is the media attention that you did get. They had no idea who you were. They were just making fun of your name.
Right,
they didn't actually know the story that your father, the pro basketball player across Europe, suggested it, and rowing saved your life. I want to repeat that. Rowing saved your life. That is an amazing moment. How old were you? Where did you first start rowing? Because I don't think it was just at St. Joe's.
I started rowing in the spring of 7th grade. And like I said, I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the people that were doing it. I thought, that they were like corny or whatever. So I ended up quitting. I rowed for Wilmington Youth Rowing Association, right on the Christiana in Delaware in Wilmington. And then I came back, about December of my senior year. And the same kids that I didn't like ended up being my best friends. So.
And are they still your best friends? Are you still connected with those guys?
Yeah. My boy Devontae Nichols is actually the head coach of the men's program over there. And he's doing a great job. And he actually developed my brother, who's also rowing with me at St. Joe's. So,
and I just want to repeat his name. Can you please tell me his nickname?
His name's Air Lenape Dunkley.
What an amazing – I just love that, Slam and Air. Now, your experience at St. Joe's Prep, this is – I can't imagine a person of color, a black man. How many athletes were like you? Like, were there just so few?
Well, it's St. Joe's University.
Sorry, St. Joe's University.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
But no, yeah. I mean, you could even look at my freshman roster picture when we took a pic with the team, and like you can't even really notice that I'm in it. That's how many white people are on the team. But the great thing about St. Joe's, and I noticed it from the time that I started, is that not that they didn't see color, but it was never really brought up until people start getting comfortable, and then they kind of start saying a couple things. But
that never was a problem for you, was it? Because they didn't make it a big deal, right? Because athletes like rowers just don't make it a big deal. It was okay for you.
I have a path, so whether they're white or black, I had to be there. And rowing is what was getting me through school, so I didn't really have a choice. I did want to transfer because St. Joe's is a predominantly white institution. But I decided to stay because my team became kind of a family for me. And racism is going to follow you wherever you go. So there's no real hiding from it. So I figured I might as well try to build a community at my school, which I think I did a pretty good job of doing, and trying to build a place where Black people can be comfortable, not only on St. Joseph's rowing team, but on St. Joseph's campus. I think I did a fairly decent job of that so far.
And well, you've done such a good job that you've gotten your brother to do it. Was that a challenge, convincing your brother to jump into the boat as well?
No, Air loves rowing. He's a basketball player, but again, like, rowing gave him more options. He's trying to be a pulmonary doctor. So being at St. Joe's, who has an awesome bio program that he's a part of now, it's also helping him to go exactly where he wants to be in life. And as a Black man, it's amazing.
I got to tell you, man, very few times have I ever been actually surprised. And this interview is going a completely different route than I had expected.
Sure.
You, in your bio, and I'm very aware of like what happens in the Dad Vail world, you got a silver medal. Now I finished, I went to Marietta College for 1 year. I had gotten a Dad Vail medal. Finishing under that, under the grandstands and the bridge there, there's no other feeling than winning a medal in that race. Walk me through being really just, I mean, rowing so late in life, right? You jumped in your senior year of high school to winning a silver medal. What was that experience like, crossing the finish line?
It was kind of upsetting, because that year we hadn't lost any races. And it wasn't until Davils that we finally lost, and we were in the last 500 approaching the finish line, almost neck and neck with, I don't even remember who won that year, but we caught a crab. Our 2C caught a crab, and our boat completely stopped. And you see, the 6 other boats coming right at you, and we had to pick our stuff up together and finish out the race. So, I mean, silver was awesome. I think we were all very disappointed that we didn't get gold. The following year, I actually blew my back out. And I think we got silver again, silver or bronze, I'm not sure. And this year we're trying to win, but we'll see what happens with Corona. I definitely want to try to get one before I graduate completely.
I mean, that would be incredible. Who was your coach that year that you had won the silver medal?
Yeah, we had Mike Irwin, who is still the head coach, and Greg Meyer, who's actually, is he coaching at Marietta right now?
So funny enough, he was my coach at GW. So you and I have a connection. Yeah. Greg Meyer was my head coach for 3 years. So I transferred to GW, and now he's at Marietta. But yeah,
he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing coach, and he works his athletes hard.
Well, interestingly enough, I believe that you had studied philosophy. You were a philosophy major, right?
Yeah.
That is Greg Meyer's forte. There is one thing that I love about Greg Meyer. It's his ability to connect with athletes, and he made me hate rowing for a bit. I joke with him all the time. Like, we erged so much, but then he would pull me aside and like have hard conversations with me. Did you ever have that experience with him as a coach? Did you sit down with him? Did he direct you in life and help you kind of make decisions?
Yeah, Greg Meyer, he always had that presence with him that you're talking about. I can't really remember any conversations that we had. They were always amazing. I do remember him telling us as a group that when you strive for excellence in rowing, you begin to see it leak into other aspects of your life. And that's something I always remember, and it's something that I've seen throughout my college career. So I will always remember him for that, the motivation, the leadership, the strength, and just the attitude of being an overall decent and progressive and bountiful human on this planet. Greg Meyer embodies all of that.
That guy, I'll tell you my first experience with him, and I think you and I can relate to this. So we were doing an hour of power on the erg, and it was in the middle of winter. It was like December 8th. I'll never forget it. My first real month with him. And we weren't pulling really good scores. And he puts an erg down. He takes his shirt off. He's wearing jeans. And he makes us watch him go 145 for an hour of power, gets off the erg and yells at all of us saying, "A 40-year-old man can do that. You guys should be able to do that."
Wow. Yeah.
It was quite an experience.
Yeah, he's an animal. He's an animal.
He is an animal. Now, I want to, you just talked about how he embodies leadership, and he is a great individual. I think it was just a couple months ago, you were awarded the Arthur Ashe Jr. What do you call it? The Sports Scholar Award, right? What has that done for you? I don't even know how I don't even know how you go about getting that award. Can you just tell me and the audience how that all progressed and happened?
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of out of nowhere. Um, I do a lot of social justice work. So today's Indigenous Peoples Day. So I feel like a part of my path is to make the masses of America recognize the value of Indigenous people and our voices. So coming into St. Joe's, it was important for me to continue my work of spreading my culture and to eliminate any biases or racism that was in our community, which really holds back the ability to progress as, a collective unit. So my sophomore year, once I got the handle of school and rowing, I tried to do as much as I could outside of the sport to start eliminating that bias. And a good friend of mine on the team, we started by having a presentation on consciousness and white privilege for our team. And when he graduated that following fall, the athletic director had me present that same PowerPoint and presentation to the entire athletic staff and all of the athletes at St. Joe's. And beyond that, I'm just trying to provide an Indigenous perspective wherever I go. I got really involved in any way I could, while also trying to make sure that my grades were good enough to get me into law school. I started with the 2.9, and it's really important for rowers when they first get into school not to just focus on rowing because it's great, but school's just as important. I ended up finishing with like a 3.53, which is decent, but I had to put in a lot of work because my freshman year wasn't that good, And I think it's also important for rowers to realize that, it's all athletes, that you can't get consumed by your sport, and there's a lot more that you bring to the table as an individual that you should cultivate throughout college in finding yourself and in trying to further your insight and your ability to reflect. But yeah, in doing all of that, I ended up getting that award, which was really cool. I think it just recognizes, the work that I put in and how much work that I have to do before I die to actually make a difference.
You are something special, my man. And I'm just thinking about if I was in high school or if I was still young, having someone like you as a mentor for these younger athletes, even the 7th and 8th graders. I mean, is that something that you have in your future? Do you want to support other athletes with your story?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of athletes already have it in them. The ability to separate your mind from your body, the ability to work with a team, the ability to do things that you don't necessarily want to do for the betterment of others and yourself are all aspects of athletes that we all have deep within us. That's why we go to college and do the sport, right? I do think sometimes it has to be a little bit tailored and cultivated and motivated by others, just to make sure that you don't get distracted or disappointed by your results, to continue the work. And I think I definitely like to keep working with the athletes, all people, to cultivate that ability to be bigger than just yourself in life.
Well, that's a good transition to setting the tone. So
Yeah,
a quick background on you, just looking you up. You are a founder of Setting the Tone. People can go on Instagram right now and take a look. We'll leave a link in the bio here. Walk me through that. Tell us what that is and what your goals are.
for sure. Setting the tone erected around the BLM protest. So, like myself and many others, I was very consumed and overwhelmed by the amount of information and media that was being just thrown at us through social media and all through the news or whatever. So I wanted to create a safe space where our peers could come together and be informed and come up with real life solutions and just embrace different perspectives of the issue. A friend of mine, Kavehi Perihahoi, who is a native Hawaiian, came to me and she wanted to help me out, and actually really helped to build the idea. And our goal was to just, as Indigenous people, we want to have like meaningful conversations. So we wanted to have these conversations with people who are from the protest, professors, anybody who would give us the time of day and spread their, how would you say, knowledge and insight into the issues that we face as a society, and just push it and keep trying to get more people to watch and listen and spread it. And we're doing a really good job so far. I think our best episode was on environmental racism and how Black Lives Matter movement is so connected in the climate crisis that is quickly approaching us, and every other societal issue that is interwoven in the challenges that Black people, Indigenous people, and any other demographic that is not just white face as a community. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
You know, you're a 21, 22-year-old man, and you sound as though you're 50, and you've been through it a lot. Like, you're very well-spoken, very intelligent individual. For those, our show, our podcasts, our entertainment, they're mostly rowers, okay? And we've worked a lot with Arshay Cooper. I know you know who that is. He is, along with others in that circle, he is a big face to the diversity of rowing. Can you just walk us through here, what more can we be doing to actually diversify rowing and get more people like you in the boat and rowing?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges of rowing is the accessibility of it, right? So when I rowed for Wyra is an amazing foundation in that it allows for students who do not come from wealthy backgrounds to be a part of their clubs. And I joined at a time during the recession where my family was struggling, and they offered us scholarships. And that's why I was able to row. If we couldn't afford it, I would have never did it. Even with college, Coach Irwin really took a chance on me, especially with everything I dealt with in high school, and made sure financially I was set up to not have to worry about that going into college, so that I could just focus on, being a good athlete and being a good student. So I think if we want to diversify rowing, not only do we have to make it more accessible, we have to promote it in, the urban areas and in schools where a lot of these kids think that football and basketball, or so be it, is their only option, and to show them where the rowers go in life, and to compare where professional football players and basketball players end up compared to where future rowers end up. A lot of pro football players and basketball players, after they retire, are in financial ruin just because of the lifestyles that they have become so accustomed to. Whereas your rowers, they're learning in college and they value education so that they end up being businessmen, doctors, and lawyers and entrepreneurs. I'm not saying that basketball players and football players aren't, but it's just different. Sports are tailored to different avenues of life. So these are all narratives that we have to push to the youth of Black and brown people.
We're gonna end here because I think there's so much more. But I'm gonna say this again. We're a huge fan of Barstool Sports and what they do and the voice that they have. But they did not do you and everyone else that could hear your story justice. I am so honored and glad that us here at Rowers Choice Network had a chance to interview you, Slam. And look, there's a lot more that I think that we can do together. And I hope that you feel the same way. And in the future, you and I and everyone else here at Rowers Choice can do more for that community. So for all those watching, if you like or dislike what we had to say, we want your feedback, we want your comments. We had a great conversation this afternoon with Slam Dunkley. And Slam, thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you.
And I'll just say one more thing. I don't proclaim to be, woke or smart. I don't really know everything. Every day is another day or opportunity to learn, right? But the goal is just to bring as many people together to help create a foundation so that we can face the problems that are approaching our generation. So the climate crisis, stolen women and children, sex trafficking, all of that is so interconnected and needs a really unit to help fight them and make sure that this world is here for the next 7 generations to come. So I appreciate you interviewing me and allowing me to share my story. And let's do this.
I'm a 34-year-old man with kids, and I just got schooled by Slam Dunkley, a young man who's absolutely brilliant. Thank you all for watching. More from us soon.
All right.